Welcome to the With Winning in Mind podcast. I'm Heather Sumlin with Troy Bassham. Today, we are going to talk about life mottos.
Absolutely. Life mottos. We're living life and might have a motto.
What is your life motto? Do you have a life motto? We kind of talked about this, and we don't really have quote unquote life mottos that we live by. That's just summed up into one sentence. Like, that's not necessarily what we do.
Well, you learned today that I don't have one. I really don't have like a specific life motto that some people live by, and which I mean, there's a lot of good ones that you could go off of. I saw a really good documentary recently. If you haven't seen this, you have to watch this.
Okay, what is it?
The Football Life by the NFL Network. They do a great job on the show. I mean, that's awesome. But they had
It's called Football Life.
A Football Life, and they
okay.
Different people that they have documentaries on that are obviously involved in football. Well, the recent one they have is on John Madden, and John Madden just passed away. I think he was 85 years of age, but the man lived multiple lives in one life. It was amazing. I mean, he was, an excellent football coach. He was an outstanding broadcaster, and he created probably one of the best video games of all time. Mm-hmm. And, people say, let's go play football. No, they say, let's go play Madden. You made an impact when people are saying your name to describe a video game that they play. But it was outstanding. They did an awesome job. And one of the things he said, and this kind of got us thinking about how, things people live by, is when he became a head coach, he was the youngest NFL coach at that time. He was 32 years of age.
Okay.
When he became a head coach, which at that time I'm sure was just like, wow.
That seems young.
Why would you hire a kid to do the job? That's probably what they were thinking. But in his mind, it's like, hey, look, they don't have anybody, and the guy they wanted went to Pittsburgh, so why not me? I've been in this organization. I've been working my way up to the ranks. Why not hire me? So Al Davis takes a risk on him and says, okay, we're gonna hire you. And they go ahead and they hire him as head coach. And he's thinking, okay, I just need to be me. So his motto was just be you, because they can spot a fake. Mm-hmm. Athletes can spot a coach who's faking it. He's like, I'm just going to be me. And so he started doing things that was just him. And one of the examples he gave was, when has wearing a tie on an airplane make you win or lose a game?
Yeah, I don't see the significance.
Yeah, he's like, so I don't care if you wear a tie or not.
Okay.
So he's like, yeah, I want to do that. So he just had basic things that, he had 3 rules for the guys. And I don't remember all 3 of them. One of them, though, I remember he said, always be on time. You have to be on time. He was a big stickler about that one. And I think another one was play hard when I tell you to. In other words, there's a time to work really hard, and there's a time not to. Okay. And if you work really hard all the time, you will not be fresh and ready when you need to work hard.
You'll wear yourself out. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so the whole idea is just be yourself, I think, is a motto that people can live by.
Be yourself. Everyone else is taken.
Yeah, and so then it's like, oh, okay, well, what's yours? I'm like, well, I don't have one really. I've never thought about living by one. There's so many that are so good. How do you pick one? Maybe that's my problem. I need to pick one and live by it.
Well, do you have a word of the year? Do you choose a word of the year? Have you ever done that?
No.
I think, okay, so this year for me, and I don't know that it's an actual word, but I just want to do more. I want to be active. Okay, so I made a list. Like before the new year happened, I made a list of all of the things I want to do this year. And it's little things. Like I want to go roller skating just because I haven't, in a really long time. And I want to go, bowling and play top golf. And I just want to go do things. I want to create experiences. And because my husband and I tend to get in a rut. We go to the exact same restaurant. We do the exact same thing. And I kind of just want to go do fun stuff. So I'm going to be active this year. Actively.
Well, active is your word.
Active is now my word. But that means I also need to start moving more, so because I want to do more physical fitness. I've done a better job of keeping my weight down and that kind of thing, but I want to actually be fit and I'm not. So maybe this is like a combination.
So you want to, or you feel like you need to?
Well, in order for me to have the best future, 20, 30 years down the road, I need to. I think that would be very important.
See, needing to and wanting to. If you want to do something, it's much easier to get motivated. If you need to do something and it's not something you're interested in, that's why I think weight loss is so hard for most people. It is for me. I mean, do I need to lose weight? Yes. Do I want to? Yeah, but if I really wanted to, see, there's a difference between wanting to and really wanting to. Okay, I want to look better. That's what I want, but I don't want to do the work that it takes to do it. So therefore, you fall flat on that motivation moving forward and that kind of stuff.
Okay, but then that leads back to one of these mottos that I read today, which is always remember your why. So if you want to lose weight because you want to look better, then therein lies your why. And then if you're constantly reminded of your why, then you can actually apply your how.
Well, Steve Anderson made me realize why I haven't been able to lose weight in the last 10, 15 years.
You haven't made it a priority?
No, he says, there's a group of people that will always struggle to lose weight. And I go, really? And he's like, yeah, you're in that group. And I'm like, what's that? He goes, you're happily married, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, of course I'm happily married. I've been happily married for years. And he goes, then you're not going to lose weight. He says, name people who've struggled with weight, who are happily married, that all of a sudden they look good and that kind of stuff. But as soon as they get divorced, within a year, guess what happens?
Oh, you start changing everything.
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
Because now you have competition. You've got to go out and compete with these other guys to get, another woman. And the same could be said true for the wife, obviously. If Frances had a somebody at work not too long ago, her and her husband got divorced for whatever reason. And within a year, actually within 6 months, the woman had a major transformation. Mm-hmm. It was incredible. Mm-hmm. And within a year and a half, she's remarried. And it's like, wow, what was the difference? Well, I think for so long, she was probably happy in her situation, content or whatever. And so you're not. So, yeah, you have to have the why and the move forward and that kind of stuff. And I agree with you on the getting in a rut thing. It's easy to get in the rut, especially over the last couple of years. It's very easy to get in the rut. But maybe that's what I need to do. I need to come up with a word this year.
You need a word.
I need a word.
You need a word.
So if you have an example.
Maybe the word should really be proactive.
Isn't that 2 words?
No, it's 1 word. Proactive.
Is there a hyphen in there?
No.
Okay. Well, maybe I can be proactive.
Yeah. Because, you like to be a pro anyway, so you might as well be a pro at being active.
I don't know. It was much easier, too, I think when I was younger, I knew exactly what I was going for. Mm-hmm. When I was shooting and competing, it was pretty obvious. Like, I need to get on the U.S. team. I want to get on the U.S. team. I want to go to this competition. And therefore, it was easy to develop a plan and move forward. But what this got me thinking is, people are using, and of course it's, beginning of a new year, everyone's looking at, goals and coming up with a word, like you said, or that kind of stuff. But it's like, so what are the things that we teach that you think are important to everybody? Everything we teach, we like to believe is important to everybody.
I think it's pretty important.
But the reality is there's certain things that we teach that are really helpful for people in certain situations of their life. Mm-hmm. And there's other things that I think they're constant. No matter where you are in your life, this is where you need to be. So I'll give you an example. An example of when I was in basic training, the old fake it till you make it was a big motto. You have to fake it till you make it. So you go into basic training and you don't know anything. Some people might know, maybe they went to RTC in high school and that kind of stuff, and they're moving forward in their next career, their stage of life or whatever. So when I went into basic training, I'm 23 years of age, private first class, and I'm 15 credit hours away from a college degree. Mm-hmm. And I'm in a platoon of 50 people, and like 90% of them are 18, 19-year-olds right out of high school, probably in the best shape of their life, but they don't know anything. Mm-hmm. And so this whole fake it till you make it is like, well, I don't know what it's like to be a soldier. We're all in the infantry. That's where the MOS we went into. And so we're trying to become soldiers, and no one knows really what it's like to be a soldier. So the whole thing is, well, fake it till you make it. No, act the part, you'll become the part. And guess what? In a matter of a few weeks, 8 weeks of basic training, another 5 weeks of advanced training. You graduated, man, you looked the part. You acted the part.
Well, there's the imprinting power that comes from that.
Yeah.
Because if you're starting to adopt the habits and attitudes of a soldier by pretending to be a soldier and doing what you're told and saying, okay, I fit here, I belong here, this is me, the imprinting power is huge. And so then your self-image naturally changes, even though that's not who you were in the beginning.
Yeah, we had one person that said, I don't know anything about fighting, and we're doing combat training. And you're learning it, how to shoot, you're learning how to, use your bayonet and all that kind of stuff, and you're trying to fight. And so here we are, we're fighting, and this one guy goes, I don't know how to do this. I've never been in a fight before. And it was really interesting. The drill sergeant looked at him, he goes, but your enemy doesn't know that. Mm-hmm. So if you act like you are good at this.
Right.
And you charge and you yell and you scream and you're holding your position like you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. What do you think that person's going to be thinking?
I'm afraid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, but if you show weakness, if you show hesitation, if you show doubt, what do they think? Oh, you're not prepared for this. And what if they are? Yeah. And that's the whole idea of the fake it to make it. When going through that, I'm like, okay, I got it now. I understand why they do this now. And there. However, do you want to go on life doing that? Well, no, because then you go back to the John Madden quote: "Is everyone can spot a phony." In the beginning, it works, but as you develop skill and knowledge, and you start growing into that individual you want to be, and you're excelling in your career or your sport.
Well, you're no longer faking it anymore.
Correct. You're actually doing it. You're living it. So therefore, there needs to be a transformation. You go from learning into this fake it to make it mentality to a knowing, and now you're growing into the individual, and now it's all about going to what we believe people should do is be consistent. I'll be consistent with the process of what I need to do, and I'm going to execute that. And if I do it well, I'll never have to worry about the result. The result will take care of itself.
It seems to me like with your basic training example, they're actually creating a balanced individual because they're asking you to control your thoughts. At the same time, they're developing the skill. And at the same time, you're growing your self-image because you are, imprinting these positive things instead of the negative things.
That's almost accurate. Actually, they control your thoughts.
Well, even better, because if you don't know what you're doing, and then because they're guiding you all the way or forcing you or whatever it may be. I never went to basic, but what an interesting way to look at how they're growing a balanced soldier.
Everyone should go through basic training just for the experience, I think.
I will disagree with this statement. I don't think I missed out on anything by not going through basic training. No, I think I'm good. I have a full life without it.
I said for a year, all the way up until I was 23, there was no way I'd ever go in the military. No way. But sometimes you're presented with a situation where if you want this, what if you only have one way to get it? Right. And at my point, the only way I was going to be able to see how good I could be from international perspective of my sport, an international rifle, is to go to the Army Marksmanship Unit. That was the only option. So I kind of had to change my view with that. And which kind of said back to what you started with. You want to be active, you want to change things. Well, I got to change my view on how I'm doing things. So I do like that idea, though, going out and being more active with, trying new things, different things, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I made a whole list. I'll share it with you later. I've got like 50 things, like 30-something things that I want to do this year. I'm excited.
Got to come up 52, one per week.
Well, but some things I want to do more than once. Like I got a season pass to Six Flags just because. Ashley has a season pass. Austin has a season pass. Your kids. So I'm going to go to Six Flags more than once.
I'm not going to have a season pass to Six Flags.
And I rode rides I've never ridden before. Ashley got me on Mr. Freeze. That was an experience. And it helps that it's an enclosed situation where you don't really see what's going on with the roller coaster, because I didn't, in my mind, connect the fact that this is the one that goes like way up and then drops. Like it didn't register.
Yeah, I bet it registered after the fact.
Yeah, but I'll totally ride it again.
Yeah. I won't.
I'll
won't be
write it
there with
again.
you. You
It
can-
just seems to be shut down a lot. So
yeah.
anyway, all right. So next motto.
So what do you think some of the main things that are important for people to live by?
Well, one of the things that we teach, one of the principles that we teach is conscious mind can only think of one thing at a time. And I think a lot of times we forget that, hey, you can only really focus on one thing at a time. So if you're focused on complaining, frustration, anger, irritation, those types of things, you're missing the opportunity to be thinking about gratitude, to be thinking about what you're thankful for, grateful for, or what's next, or what's valuable. And I think we need to choose our thoughts wisely, because you can only think of one thing at a time. So you should choose what you want to think about in order to have the best day possible, the best moment. And life comes a moment at a time. It doesn't come weeks at once. And so controlling your thoughts in each moment can be powerful.
Yeah, as long as they're defined.
Okay, give me an example.
What if
well,
they're not defined?
but they're not always.
Then you can think about anything, even though you're controlling your thoughts.
As long as it's beneficial to you.
See, I think in terms of competing and so forth, so when I'm thinking about one thought at a time, that really resonates in rifle shooting. Because you're trying to replicate
The same action.
a process the same way each and every shot. And in our particular sport, it's become a sport of not missing. It used to be you need to shoot a 10. But if you miss the 10 ring, it's okay. I mean, you can win. You know, let's say the possible score is a 400. If you shoot a 380, you could probably win. That's way back in the 70s. For 20 years, there's no way you can win shooting a 380. I mean, you'd have to break into 390s, and then it got to be in the mid 390s and the high 390s, and now they've broken it down to where it's more difficult because now you have the decimal scoring system, which basically means it's not if just shoot a 10. How good is the 10?
So it's how close it is to the center.
Correct.
Determines the point value.
Correct.
So what's the best? Like a 10.9?
Yeah, 10.9 is
And
a
that's
perfect
like dead center.
shot. It's perfect shot.
So
If it's slightly off from perfect, but that looks like it's perfect, but it's not quite, that would be a 10.8.
So is it automated?
It works its way to 10.0, which means you barely touch the 10 ring. So in the past, it used to be if you barely touch the 10 ring and I shot a perfect 10, we got the same value.
Oh.
Okay, so now, and so shooting at 10 is very important. However, now you can't afford to miss the 10 ring.
Right.
Because now it's a matter of how good was the 10 that you shot. You know, so imagine bowling, you get a strike. Yeah, but that last pin wobbled and fell down. As where this person, they rolled a strike and it's like all the pins went down at the same time.
So then that strike would be valued more
It would be
in
valued
this scenario?
more. That's basically what's
yeah.
happening. So now it's become a game of not missing. So you need to be more consistent. So if you can define the thought process and the physical process that you're doing to time the shots and replicate the shots that get perfect.
It makes the mental
center
game even
shots.
more important.
Yeah, it makes the sport easier too. So, and that's what I think about. Because when you one shot time, define that. But then you have other activities which are much like rifle shooting. It's not a long activity. I mean, it's a few seconds. Like hitting a golf ball in golf it's nothing. It's a few seconds, right? From the time I'm going to walk up and hit the ball to I hit it. What are we talking about? 20 seconds tops? You know, it takes someone to, put the club down and get their feet and their posture, whatever, and they're looking at the target, making sure they're lined right, and then they're okay, and then they hit it. I mean, how much time does that take? Probably 10 to 20 seconds. I mean, it's not that long. But a marathon runner, that's a long time. That's, I think, how do you control your thoughts there?
Well, you can't pay attention to the pain you're in.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
You also have to be someone that it's like me to run 26 miles. And it's like me to run when I'm chased right now. Like, that's the only time it's like me to run. So this whole getting active thing, maybe I should start running.
You start running. But I think choose, you're right. You can only think about one thing at a time, but What do you think about during it? I think there's certain situations is much easier to do than other situations is more difficult to do. That's all I'm pointing out.
But I think what I mean by it too, from a life perspective, is that if you can recognize thoughts that are harmful to you being productive and actually getting the most out of a day, and you can replace those thoughts with something that's helpful to motivate you and encourage you and move you forward, you're going to have a better day.
Yeah, there's some that could be broken up into a separate category for competing versus life in general. You know, in competing, you know, what are you supposed to think about in competition? And we always talk about process as primary. You are focusing on the process in competition. You're not focusing on the result in competition. Although there's sports that pull your focus, they want you to focus on something other than execution. You know, and you can look at various different sports. If you look at golf, for example, they have a leaderboard.
Right.
You know, and they're required to record what they, you know, after each hole, they have to record what their score was. In archery, after they shoot so many arrows in the end, they go down, retrieve the arrows, and they have to record what they shot. So it pulls their focus in those sports. In rifle shooting now, you're shooting on electronic targets. You're looking at a monitor. So when you shoot the shot, it tells you exactly what you have and what your running total is. So there's ways in which the sports pull it. I mean, look at football. How big are these arenas? And they got a huge scoreboard that shows you the score. So it's very easy for someone to look up and go, oh, we're losing by 7 points. You know, so it's going to pull your focus. But when you see people who understand, you know, during the competition, process is what's important, not results. That's fun to me. I mean, I saw earlier this year, Dak Prescott, they had him mic'd up, and he walks over to his teammate who was looking up at the scoreboard, and he goes, hey, we get to look at the scoreboard after the game.
Ooh, I like that.
I thought that was awesome.
I like that.
You know, because what's he focused on? We're focusing on running the plays. If we're effective and we're successful, you don't have to worry about points.
It's one play at a time.
Yeah, points will take care of itself if you execute the plays and that kind of stuff. I just thought that was great, you know, and so when you look at things like that, I think it's important to identify what you think about and when you think about it, move forward. So makes it easier to compete, makes it easier to win.
Agreed.
Sweet. So what's another principle you like?
Another principle, I like all of them, but I think for me, the principle of the picture is a big one. Yeah. It's not important what you say, but what you cause yourself or others to picture is critical. And being understanding that the picture that's created in the mind of someone else or in your mind is what actually matters, because we're moved to do what we picture, and being very intentional with our words and with our actions in order to create the best picture possible. I like that.
Yeah, it's like if you tell someone rose, someone pictures a single rose, and another person maybe have a bouquet of roses.
You know what I just pictured when you said rose? I pictured someone standing.
Oh, there you go. You got it.
I mean, I don't know why.
So the word
like a rose instead.
Yeah.
Because you said a rose. Anyway.
So we have to live with.
This is what you have to deal with all the time.
Yeah, except last week. You had the vid last week. It was bad.
Last week, I was on the sofa. Yes. I should not have been here. And so I was not. But now I'm good. And I'm able to be active. Because I feel better.
So good to go.
All is good. Yes.
At least for 90 days.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I'm curious. And now we've talked about a word.
Yeah.
Do you have a word in mind?
No.
So next time.
Maybe that's my word. No. Do you want to do something? No. Do you want this? No. I'll go with no.
So I'm going to be out doing things and he's going to be out.
No.
That's funny. Okay, so.
I don't have I never thought about that. I never really thought about having a word that you want to like kind of live by this year. What's one word that you want to do to live by this year?
Yeah.
Man, there's a whole bunch of them you could probably come up with, but.
Well, it all
I
came.
mean, active. I get the active one. I think that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now, I think a lot of people, now are at a point where they want to get back to the way things were, and so they want to do more. They want to, probably travel more and get into things. So I think active is probably going to be one for a lot of people. They're going to say, I want to be more active.
I think life is meant to be experienced. I want to have, and what it all boiled down to is I thought about 2021 and 2020, and I thought, what are my memories? What did I do that I have really great memories from? And there were very few. And part of it was because we couldn't really do a lot, go anywhere, whatever. But for me, I want memories. I want to be able at the end of my life to recall all these wonderful experiences while I'm still able to go and do things.
I'll throw one at you. At the end of the day, which is the end of your life, that's all you have left.
Is your memories.
I'll give you one. My mother-in-law right now, she is in a nursing home. So think about it. She owned a house. She owned a car. She owned many possessions. And now, none of those.
Right.
She owns none of those. But there's one thing that she will always have, and as long as she has sound mind, is her experiences, her memories of things that she experienced. And she can, relive those, talk about those, share those, and that kind of stuff. So I agree. I think that's important. But I also think that's why so many people have lofty goals when it comes to sport and business and so forth, is that, hey, I want to do this. Why?
I want to do something no one else has done. A lot of people have that. I want to be the best, or I want to achieve XYZ goal.
Well, there's some people like, I want to be the best, but what degree do you want? There was, I can't remember, an action pistol shooter years ago, and they wanted to win these big events. They did it like in a 3-year period. And like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I've accomplished it.
And then you have another person that comes on, and they do the same thing, but their goal is, no, I want to see how long I can dominate.
Yeah.
And they won, I don't know how many years in a row they won a competition. I mean, it was like year in, year out. It's like when Lona Schwerger won the NRA Nationals at Camp Pear, Ohio, 9 years in a row. It's like, wow. It's like, no, I want to win it and see how many years can I win this in a row and do that. And so 2 different ways of looking at it. So when people sit there and say, well, why is Tom Brady still playing? I think he wants to see, how far can I go to play at a high level to prove to himself and to other people, it's possible at this age you can still win a Super Bowl. That you can still be relevant, that you can still perform at this high of a level. When other people are like Barry Sanders, after 10 years, he's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm going to quit. I mean, even though he could arguably the 11th year go out there and have a rushing title. It wasn't like he was way past his prime, but he's like, there's a time, move forward. And that's another thing in John Madden's documentary he points out. He's like, the one thing he was really good at, he said, was knowing when to move on.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. So you're talking about know your why. Maybe people need to know their when. When do you start something? When do you move on to something else?
So basically the lesson from today so far is, number 1, know your why so that you can implement the how.
It's a new year. What are you doing this year? If you don't know why, it's going to be hard to have a successful year. I agree.
Well, you have to define what success means to you. What does that mean?
To you, it's to be active.
Yeah, I just feel like if I do, and that doesn't mean be busy. Yeah, it means creating memories. So instead of, I just don't want to sit and have the year go by and then be like, what did I do this year? Well, I worked a lot. Great. I helped a lot of people, which that's awesome. And I love what I do. But that's not the memories I want to take with me. I want to experience life. My daughter's only home for another year and a half, probably. And then maybe she'll go off to college or whatnot. And so I would like to experience some more family, I don't know, fun stuff. I want to have fun. That's what I want. I want to have fun. I want to have memories. I want to have experiences.
Sounds like
I want to drag Troy to Six Flags. That probably wouldn't work out very well. Because you're not a big fan of that.
I'm not a fan of amusement parks.
I will take Francis to Six Flags.
Yep.
She's fun to go to Six Flags with.
She loves it.
So I think the main point is you've got to know your why, you've got to know your how, you've got to know your when, and then pick a word of the year. Find a word or find a motto or find something that you can live by that makes life more fun, more engaging, more successful, more worthwhile.
Well, there you go. Maybe our viewers can share what their word is, and I'll pick one.
Oh, I like that. So comment with your word of the year or what word you think Troy needs for the year. That would be fun.
Yeah.
I'm
sure
excited.
someone's going to put down optimism.
Optimistic would be a great word for the year.
Yeah, I am optimistic. I did decide. I don't think this is like the word, but I did make a conscious decision this year to say, I'm going to be more optimistic this year because it's kind of been gloomy the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing uncertainty, and who likes uncertainty? In a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking like the Olympics. We were so uncertain. Is it going to happen? No, it didn't happen. It's going to be this year. Is it really going to be this year? Or is it not going to be this year? And just having that, I'm like, this year, I don't want to go by that. I want to be more optimistic and just, what, we're going to plan like all these things are going to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's my word. I already want to be optimistic, but I think there's probably a better word to go by. Active, I like active. I think that's a good one because it forces you to do things you're probably not doing to get the experience that you're talking about wanting to have. So I like that.
And it's planning ahead, which didn't work out the first week of the year because I wasn't expecting that we were going to have illness in our household. So I didn't get to do in the first, 10 days what I really wanted to. So now this weekend, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to do something on Saturday. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to go do something.
On Saturday. I'm probably working on Saturday.
I am not working on Saturday. I do not have any clients on Saturday. So I'm going to go do something. I will tell you what it is next time.
Okay.
I will update you on my activities.
On your activities. Okay.
Yeah.
See how active you were on your activities.
Yeah. We'll see who I rope into going with me on my activities.
I'll tell you one thing that I want to do this year. I want to get rid of stuff.
Oh, you want to purge?
I want to get rid of stuff. I've realized I've been watching I don't know why I started watching this a couple weeks ago. I've been watching these tiny homes and RV living and camping and trailing and people have actually, they're living in a trailer, they're living in a tiny home, or they're living in a smaller, they downsized, right?
Right.
And I don't know why I'm watching all this, but what it's made me realize is I don't need all the stuff that
Right.
there's stuff that I have that at one point I needed.
So
I'll give you a good one.
What?
I have a sledgehammer. I can't tell you the last time I used the sledgehammer. Why do I have it?
Never know when you might need a sledgehammer.
But it's just sitting there. I also have a couple other things. I'm like, am I really ever going to use that again? No.
So.
Like we did last year. You know what we did last year?
What?
Talking about getting rid of stuff. So we had, for the last 15 years, we've had a pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
We've owned F-150. Go Ford. Boom. F-150.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome truck. Wife loves it. Drive it. But you know what you can't do with an F-150 or any other full-size pickup truck?
I have no idea.
You can't fit in the garage.
Oh.
It won't fit in the garage. So when the Bronco was coming out, they came with the Bronco Sport first and then the Bronco. But when they came with the Bronco Sport, Francis was like, man, I really like that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to. Well,
And
we had.
it fits in the garage.
Yeah, we had an incident where we had the truck in the shop and the dealership it went to, Planet Ford, says, hey, we have a loaner for you. And so they loaned us a vehicle. Yeah, they loaned us, but guess what they loaned us?
A Bronco Sport.
Bronco Sport. So we drove it for a week, and Francis fell in love with it. And you know what that Bronco Sport does that the F-150 did not do?
It fits in the garage.
Fits in the garage. So it's fun to drive, fits in the garage. She goes, okay, now, because the way we have our setup.
It's probably easier to park.
Is we have one garage space where a car can park and the other one can park behind it. On the other side of the garage, we use for other things where we have kind of like a workout area that we don't use, and we have storage and that kind of stuff. And then,
but if you're active, you're going to use it.
When you get home, if she beat me, well, then I'd have to call her, say, hey, move the truck and I'll park. Well, now we don't have to do it. We flip-flop it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we got to thinking about, but we used the truck and we started listing all the things that we use the truck for. But then we started thinking, okay, when did we use it for that purpose? And we're like, oh gosh, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or we used it for this.
And you can
it's-
rent a truck if you had
Yeah,
to.
if you have to do some of the things that we were looking at, we're like, well, we know people own a truck. And so when we made that change, it served a better purpose. So yeah, we got rid of something we no longer, quote, needed for something else that's fit a good purpose. And have we really missed it? Nope. And I'm like, there's probably 100 other items I have in my house. I could say the same thing. It's like, yeah, I might need that one day, but do I really need it? And I'm holding on to things that I've had. Like I still have a duffel bag that I got when I made the World Championship team. And I'm holding on to it because it's a sentimental value. But it's just there. I can't tell you the last time I used that duffel bag.
So on Facebook, I saw this idea. I thought it was pretty clever. I haven't done it yet, but I think I should. So wardrobe, like in your closet, turn all of your hangers the opposite way, right? And then as you choose to wear something, put it back the correct way. And 6 months down the road, see what you did not wear, because you'll know what you never touched, what you never wore, and then toss it unless you have some reason to keep it.
I don't have to do that.
I think that's a good idea.
I don't have to do that. All I have to do is look at the clothes that have dust on the top of the pile.
Well, that's
And I can tell you, I have not worn that. And so what I did the first weekend of the new year, I went to the closet and I said, I'm feeling a trash bag full of clothes, and I literally just did that.
and donated.
Said, I don't wear that. I don't know when I've worn this last. Boom, in the bag, in the bag, in the bag, and already started that. And that's my goal this year is to continue doing that every month. Just motivate myself to say, okay, let's just make a decision, get rid of something. If you're not going to get rid of something, then have a reason why you're keeping it that's actually a legitimate why, instead of, one day I might need that sledgehammer. I have no idea when I'm going to need a sledgehammer.
I'm sure we have one, so if you need to borrow, I'm sure we have one.
Yeah.
So you don't probably need it.
There you go. So we're stepping our comfort zone. You're getting more active, and I'm purging. There you go.
Awesome.
I guess that's
there
the
we
word.
go. Your
Purge.
word is purge. Okay, so my challenge to you would be not only to purge the items that you do not need, but purge the thoughts that are unnecessary.
Oh, that should be easy.
There we go. There we go. All right. So what are you going to purge this year? What are you going to focus on this year? What are your goals for this year? Keep us posted and put the word that you think Troy should use. It may be purge. It may be active. It may be proactive. It may be optimistic. We don't really know, but we might need your help with that. Go ahead and like this. If you enjoyed our conversation, like it, share it, subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to seeing you soon.